Hello, my royal lovelies. Welcome back to the channel and of course welcome to my home. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a topic that normally gets people hot under the collar. Royal finances. And yet there is another story about it. So I thought that I would talk about it, read it, dissect it, and we'll sort of get through it. So, how much does Prince William, the Prince of Wales, really have in his bank account? The Prince of Wales boasts more than £1 billion due to vast Duchy of Cornwall estate and inheritance from Diana and the Queen Mother. So, just from the headline, yes, it is true that the Duchy of Cornwall is worth over £1 billion, but that is not, most of it is what Prince William, the Duke of Cornwall, cannot sell. He cannot, for example, sell everything off for his own benefit. Anything that is sold kind of has to go back into the duchy, if you like. So nothing is it's not personal wealth. What he does, as you'll see in a moment, he derives an income from the surpluses from it. So on paper, he is one of the country's biggest landowners, over £1 billion, but he can't quite, it's not actually his to freely do with as he wants. He needs to keep it intact, ready for the next Duke of Cornwall, who will be Prince George. And also he did have inheritance from his mother and the late Queen Mother's legacy. So Prince William was on a royal visit this week and he told an 11-year-old boy who cheekily asked a question how much money he had in his bank account. I don't quite know how I would have answered that one. So I think he was taken aback and a little bit surprised by the question. I'm not entirely sure what the answer was. What did he say? Oh, he said he didn't know. Well, I'm sure he doesn't. But the prince's fortune is laid bare in the duchy's annual report. So I've read a lot of comments, comments not really getting things right on my channel about royal finances. They are transparent, and they have been largely since the 1990s. So reports are filed annually of all the incomings, the outgoings. I mean, we don't go down to the level of, Prince William's personal current account, what he's, we don't know, for example, what he's spending on Netflix or whatever, whether he's had a trip to David Austin Rose's. We have no idea about all these different things. That's personal expenditure. But the estates, the Duchy of Lancaster, the Duchy of Cornwall, it's all public and all on record, very open and transparent. And of course, they pay voluntarily income tax on the surplus. So this happened round about the time of the Windsor Castle fire. Now the now King and the late Queen had already been discussing about whether or not they should pay income tax prior to the fire, and they'd pretty much come to the conclusion that they were going to. The fire kind of hastened things and brought, royal finances to the public attention. And since then, they have voluntarily paid tax on the Duchy of Lancaster and Cornwall income. So last September, as we know, Prince William was predicted by the Sunday Times to be worth a staggering £1.05 billion after inheriting his father, the King Charles's Duchy of Cornwall, when the late Queen died. And of course, this is a tax-free transference. The inheritance effectively made William a billionaire, becoming the biggest private landowner in Britain, with holdings across 23 counties, including farms, housing developments, 7 castles, woodland, coastlines, and commercial property. Almost 90% of the duchy's holdings are in real estate, including London's Oval Cricket Ground, which apparently used to be a cabbage patch, no less. He also owns Highgrove House, of course, now leased to the King, and also the Dorset town of Poundbury that was set up as like a model village, if you like, by His Majesty when he was Prince of Wales. Inheritance from Diana was said to be £10 million, and inheritance from the Queen Mother, her legacy, said to be £7 million. And actually, it was mooted at the time that Harry actually got a larger share of the Queen Mother's legacy because he was not expected to be king. So other assets include £345 million of commercial property in London and Milton Keynes, no less. So the figures from 2020 to 21, those figures stood at 21.24 million in terms of the surplus, but jumped to 24 million last year, and then again to 26 million for the year ending March 2023. So basically, because William came to the duchy partway through a year, it meant effectively that the income had to be split with his father. So that 24 million was split. I think William had something like 12.7 million, while his father took 11.25. Usually William would get the whole lot, but that has to fund all of his royal duties, and in time will also fund the activities of George, Charlotte and Louis. So Kensington Palace also explained that there would be a one-off payment, which actually reduced William's take-home to 5.9 million, and that was so that there was some working capital during the transition. So the duchy kept 6.8 million, and William walked away last year with 5.9 million. That, of course, will go up to whatever, I think the full 26 million this year. So William is not poor, let's put it that way. As we've just said, he would have inherited 10 million from his mother and 7 million from the Queen Mother. And King Charles's private fortune is believed to have soared to 1.8 billion. But of course, that would include things, again, that he can't sell, like the royal collection. So yes, there has been also anti-monarchists talking about his funds. So Graham Smith, Chief Executive of Republic, said William has some explaining to do because as a change of monarch and heir is no excuse to row back on what little transparency there is. Well, I disagree fundamentally because there has never been more transparency. How much more transparent do you want? Do you want access to his personal bank account? I don't actually understand what more they want transparency of. All of the royal spending is accounted for. What William spends on royal travel, all the different expenses is laid in all of the published accounts. So I'm not quite sure. I think this is just trying to make issue with something that's not actually there, trying to hoodwink the public. He says there's no reason why William's household cannot provide a full set of accounts. They do. They do provide it, so I don't know what he's talking about. As a recipient of public funds from the state-owned duchy, he should be reporting his income and expenditure. He does. As duchy profits appear to be growing, it's time we demanded the return of the duchies of Cornwall and Lancaster to the people and for the revenue to be spent on local communities. Well, they fund the monarchy. So obviously, if the monarchy was not deriving income from the duchies, then it would have to come directly from more government expenditure, which then means that it's still coming from the public purse. So make it make sense. What they really want is the abolishment of the monarchy, which is not likely to happen. So last year it was reported that the royal family's fortunes now exceed £20 billion. Again, most of it things that they can't actually touch. Princess Anne is said to be worth 50 million, Prince Edward 10 million, Prince Andrew 5 million. I mean, these are all figures, that are estimated. We don't actually know. But the Crown estate itself is worth £16.5 billion, including £1.4 billion, such as Buckingham Palace. So the royal family is wealthy. The bottom line is the royal family is incredibly wealthy. They aren't going to be short of a few bob anytime soon. And they are accountable. The royal finances are there, laid bare, Duchy of Lancaster, Duchy of Cornwall, for all to see, including royal expenditure on travel and all the rest of it. It's all documented and accounted for. Someone also commented about the Prince of Wales, not William, when Charles was Prince of Wales, receiving a bag of money from a foreign prince, or I think it was a foreign prince. Well, that was accounted for as well. I mean, okay, it's a typically unusual way to accept donations, that, you know, £1 million or so in cash. But even so, it wasn't scurried away. The £1 million in cash was actually put through the books. So if you look at the finances, it was all accounted for and nothing was found to be improper with the donation. Whether a donation is a cash donation, which is unusual, but it's still the same as like a wired transaction. It's still money coming in, and it was accounted for in that way. Nothing was hidden. So like I say, they are very transparent. The curious story, of course, was why was it in a bag of money? I mean, you know, sometimes people, really rich people, do have very large bags of money. I wish I had one. But anyway, there was nothing improper about it. The only thing that you could say is, you know, why was the donation given? Was it to receive anything in exchange? But then you could also say that about any donation. Is there an alternative method or motive for a donation? But that's obviously, you know, a completely separate issue to the one we're talking about with William's wealth. So thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media. And of course, do hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me, mwah, to you all, and goodbye.